Hi, welcome back to the Genetic Genius podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lulu Shimmick. On this week's episode, Tom Paladino discusses the healing power of scalar light therapy and how to use it to enhance energy, the mitochondria, and improve cellular function. Tom is the leading researcher and humanitarian in the emerging field of scalar light healing. His mission is to make a difference in the world by providing people with the education and tools to restore optimal health and enhance their quality of life. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Genetic Genius podcast. I am so thrilled to have my guest, Tom Paladino, today. We're going to be talking all about scalar light healing, and just welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Lulu. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, you're so welcome. So before we dive into scalar light healing, which is going to be our conversation today, I'd really love for you to talk about yourself. Just introduce yourself. Let's get to know you a little bit. What makes you tick? What makes you excited in life?
Why am I excited about scalar energy? What makes me tick? I see this technology, scalar light, as being the next great thing for mankind, so to speak. It's the next technology that will take us over the hump, so to speak. It's not electricity. We're not going to speak about electricity and magnetism. We're going to speak about a different energy spectrum that has such promise. It's Tesla energy or quantum energy. And when the audience sees the merit of this new technology, they're going to really grasp onto it. And we're going to see how this will change everybody's life for the better. Promise you. This is a game changer. It will change our lives.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And I love quantum energy and Tesla. I was just working with some Tesla energy coils and quantum healing over the past week, and just really amazing the energy you can feel in the vibration. So I'm so excited for us to talk about that. And where are you located? Where are you from?
I live in Florida. I love the Sunshine State. They're great people down here. Dr.
Nice.
They're great people.
So good. I was born in Florida in Pensacola. Long time ago, just last year. That's my light being. So funny. Okay, so wonderful. So scalar light healing, let's dive into that and just talk about kind of what it is. So people are like, huh? What is it? And how does it work? You mentioned it's wave frequencies. We'll dive into more of that. So first of all, what is it?
But what is it? I really believe it's the backdrop, the fundament of the universe. I believe it's a divine energy from God. I believe it's the energy that powers the stars. So if we look at the universe from the telescopic view, and we look at the constellations in the universe, what gives those constellations light? It's scalar light, scalar energy. That's how important this is. So invariably, we're speaking about the life force energy of the universe, the quantum energy of the universe. This is not magnetism. It's not electricity. It's so important that we understand that there's an energy out there, a divine energy that powers, that gives expression to the universe. And that's what scalar energy is.
Yes. And is there a difference, or is it the same thing as plasma light?
Very good. Very good. Now, many astronomers will look at a plasma state. They'll say a star is exhibiting a plasma event. That's a scalar energy event.
Same thing.
It's identical. Once we have a handle on this, we can define our terms. Yes, there is plasma in the universe. Yes, some stars, quasars, exhibit some type of fifth state, what they call it, a fifth dimension, call it what you will. It's a scalar energy emanation. That's what it is.
And how is it vibrationally? If we're talking about just the regular UV light that comes through, what is the difference in that vibrational level compared to the scalar light healing?
When we consider electricity, it's cycles per second, delivering an energy by way of a waveform. Now, with scalar energy, it's omnipresent. So you don't deliver it by a cycles per second by a waveform. It's everywhere. So there really is no frequency to scalar energy. It's the omnipresence of God. Now that's one of the features that makes this so exciting. You don't have to worry about transferring energy from point A to point B. My cell phone has to receive a signal from point A to point B. If this was a scalar energy cell phone, I could instantaneously communicate with the universe.
That's exciting. Let's make that happen.
There you go. You see the gigantic picture here. So we're no longer bound to time and space. Scalar energy is everywhere. It's not a transference. It's not a movement of electrons. It's not a movement of a signal. It's the omnipresence of God. It's consciousness.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. A light form of infinity, where it's just like all around us in every form. And I think people are waking up to understanding just what that is. That's vibrational medicine in a sense, right? As everything around us has that quality of light, that quality of vibration. And we're talking about the infinite light coming from the universe, then that changes the way our healing is. And what is it that light particularly changing as our planet is changing? Are we seeing a shift in that scalar light
Yes.
coming through?
Yeah. And I've said this so often, Doctor, everybody's a scalar energy expert. We all have scalar energy in our body. We have to in order to survive. And I've told people frequently that concentrate on your scalar energy vessels, which are your scalar energy instruments, your mind and your heart, your mind and your emotions. So I'm trying to really boil this down to a commonality here. What is scalar energy? It's God's energy. It's everywhere, and everybody possesses it. So everybody has that image of God. And a great way to access that energy is by thinking or by feeling.
The heart and brain connection is so important. Not the ego piece, but our mind, our consciousness mind, or unconscious mind, I should say, in the piece of connection. That's great. And so when we're talking about scalar light healing, how does it work when you're with a person receiving that? So let's talk about that piece. What is the systemology of it? How is it working? How is the person receiving the healing?
Right. Very good. Let me make this so clear and so apparent. Some people have healing hands.
Yep,
Scalar
that's
energy
right.
healing hands. There you go. Some people who can heal by word or by encouragement, or we have many health coaches, or we have many business coaches who provide a word of knowledge. In many ways, that's scalar energy in action. Now, I've gone as far as to create a scalar energy instrument that controls that energy. So in many ways, with a scientific instrument, I have an instrument that demonstrably controls, harnesses scalar energy, and then can perform a repeating function. With the scalar energy instrument, I can guarantee an outcome because I can repeat the exercise. I can repeat the scientific work, just like an airplane or a computer or a car. I have an instrument that controls, that mandates scalar energy.
And that's with a Tesla coil in the inside, like rotating the biophoton energy.
Yes, I do use Tesla coils, a receiver and a broadcaster, 2 coils. It's connected to a scalar energy instrument. So there's no moving parts, Dr. Lulu. And I want to inculcate that. Why are there no moving parts? The moving part, so to speak, is scalar energy.
Okay.
100 years ago, Tesla devised motors with an armature or some kind of rotating force field. And God bless, here the rotation is the actual scalar energy. The kinetic energy is from scalar energy itself. So you don't need a motor. You don't need an armature. You don't need a turbine. Scalar energy, yes.
Yeah.
Scalar energy is the motor of the universe.
Oh, that's so cool. And so what is it might be hard to describe right now. So what does the machine itself look like? Does it have, and how is that scalar energy then it's transmitted, correct, to a person remotely or in person?
Remotely. And thank you for calling that to our attention. So a scalar energy instrument allows me to access a person's force field anywhere in the world by way of a photograph. I have custom built instruments in which I will actually take a person's photograph. People email me a photograph.
Is that you?
Yes.
That's great. I love it.
So as a matter of reference, people will take an email photograph and they'll send it to me. I'll actually place that photograph, this is my photograph, inside a scalar energy instrument. So this is not a biological treatment. I want to make that very clear. It's a quantum treatment. And how do I access a person? By their force. So this is not a biochemical process. This is an energetic process through the medium of a person's photograph.
Great.
Now, if I look at my light source, there's a light signature. It's me on the photograph. That is unique. My light, my energy is unique to my person. So a scalar energy instrument will pick up my light signature and send energy into that force field. So we're working with force fields. We're not working with biological life.
So fascinating. And does it matter? Do you have to take a picture in that moment in time? Say you're going to do a scalar light healing on someone in 5 minutes. Does it have to be a current photograph? What's that range look like?
That's a very astute question. So a photograph is really an eternal life source. A photograph always reports your present day constitution. So your photograph might be 30 years old, but it reports your immediate constitution, which proves in many ways that scalar energy is not bound to time and space.
Exactly.
Even though a photograph might be 30 years old, it still reports your immediate real-time constitution.
So it's like basically reading your light body for of scalar light. So it's that energetic form, which is from when you're born. It's the same, it's that same being. We don't change in that particular aspect. Maybe we grow spiritually and energetically for sure. Okay. So there is the machine, and then you have the photograph of the person, and then that is going, it reads that picture. And then from there, the healing takes place.
That's correct. And I'll demonstrate how I instruct this instrument. Let's say I want to assemble vitamin E. I would actually take a photograph of vitamin E, place it inside the instrument. This is a magnified photograph of vitamin E. And if I were to place this photograph of vitamin E next to my photograph in the quantum field, the two would share. The vitamin E would communicate with my photograph. Now, I know that sounds quite unique and maybe too much to believe at first encounter, but it's very much true. Why? Because I'm working with light. The light source of a vitamin will interact with my light source as a person. So vitamin E will interact with my photograph, my force field as a person. Again, this is not a biological process. It's a force field process.
Right. Oh, it's fascinating. I love that picture of vitamin E. That's so cool. I geek out on that stuff. Yeah, so cool. Yeah. And to me, it totally makes sense. And if you're listening out there and you're like, wow, that seems way far out there, just maybe think about it even from like water has a crystalline aspect to it. And so when we drink water, we can have that crystalline aspect within us. But if we just are next to the water, you still have that vibration, or even near water, like a waterfall, you're still feeling the vibration and the energy of that light force, correct?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Now, to put all this into context, many people, when you walk out someday in the sunshine, you feel exuberant. In part, that's because you're immersed in scalar light. Yes, there is an electromagnetic component. There's an electromagnetic spectrum. But definitively, you are immersed in a scalar energy force field when you're in the sunlight. And this, for various reasons, this is why so many people feel a feeling of zest, a feeling of vitality when they're out in the sun, when they're out in nature. Because you're interacting in an unmitigated fashion with that life force energy, with the ambient sunlight that you're experiencing.
It's recharging all of the cells of that scalar energy form. Which is so good, so rejuvenating. The sun is so great. I love it. And so if we're talking about, okay, so we're in the space of using the machine, and then why do you think that maybe people haven't really heard of it? It sounds like so profound to me. I want to be using it with my patients. It sounds so cool. So what is it? Is it just not that well versed in the world yet? It's just new. When was it developed and discovered? Exactly.
Tesla was the first man to develop scalar energy instruments.
Oh, okay. So a while ago.
So over 100 years ago. But sadly, the US government seized all of his inventions and his notes when he died. So his work stopped there abruptly. Now we have to take up from where he left off and try and intuit what he was doing. So it's taken me years. I work with brilliant engineers, and we've developed these scalar energy instruments. So we're trying to retrace the steps of Nikola Tesla. To answer your question, why isn't this better known? Why isn't this better understood by mankind? It's just a matter of time. It is an esoteric topic. We will not find this on mainstream media for various reasons. You have to work with private researchers like myself in order to find out what is our status quo with this technology.
Yeah, and healthcare healing is changing. And I think we're rapidly seeing, and as stuff does start to move, people are looking for something different. They're just like, I need something different. And they're learning about different ways of healing through light, through massage, through acupuncture. There's so many different things, but I think we're going to see an accelerated change in the next, I would say the next 5 years. We're going to be
Oh,
seeing
yes.
it's already going up so quickly. So I think people will be learning more, and they'll be listening to this podcast and learning more about it too, of course.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So when we're talking about using it, how does it work for the whole body system, or does it work for the whole body system? Does it work for the physical body, the energetic body, the mental body, and the spiritual body? Does it work with all those forms together?
All of the above. Yes. Why? Because it's the very scalar energy is the very animating force that gives life to our spirit, our mind, our emotions, and our physical constitution. Now, can I prove that? At least in theory, I can, because if this energy is a divine energy, it really has a creative strength inbuilt. And so it provides instructions for everything. And I hold to that theorem that this scalar energy is the instructions of the universe, including the soul, mind, and body. So if this is correct and this is accurate, I've tapped into the life source energy that instructs or corrects the soul, mind, and body. Meaning what? With a scalar energy instrument, I should be able to correct imbalances, spiritual, cognitive, physical imbalances, which is what? Disease
Right,
or
exactly.
some type of medical problem condition.
Yeah, so it's igniting within the person their natural ability to heal, because that light force is going in and then changing basically their own light source, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So what is disease? Disease is misinformation.
Right. It's just a jumble of the wrong stuff in the system.
Yeah. Yes, that disease is disinformation, or I should say, poorly received information or poorly understood information.
Poorly coded
Disease is
information.
the wrong information in the body.
Yeah, so true. Yes, and you've had a tube of endless energy coming in, and then different like blocks. I always think of it like a sponge. Like the sponge has holes, or Swiss cheese stuff's coming in, and then we're not able to go back out. So then it creates like a block in the system. So then the little blocks form, and then we have to just move the energy as our own healer. But sometimes we need the instruments to help us move things through, because maybe it's gone way too far, and we have to reignite that inner healer within. Yeah.
So we now are starting to have a better understanding how this life force energy, this fundamental animating force of the universe, is so important. Scalar energy is the driving force behind our spiritual, cognitive, emotional, and physical well-being. That's monumental.
Totally. Yeah. And that's our whole body. All the systems working together. Have you done a aura check with it? Have you ever where you do a reading before and then do the scalar light healing and then do another aura check to see if it changes and shifts?
Yes. Some of my clients have, and they said that our chakra balancing has served to heighten their alignment, improve their alignment, to increase their, or what I would say, manifestation. So we have had some people before and after chakra readings, and after our scalar energy sessions, their chakra readings are aligned, and it seems that they have a greater spin to their chakras.
Yeah, that makes total sense, because they're realigning, right? In that not circadian rhythm, the rhythm of the body, the speed of the body, that light force.
And a corollary to that is we do have 7 chakras and they spin. And they're composed of scalar energy. Why do they spin? Scalar energy is a double helix that spins. Okay, it's not static, it's kinetic energy. So our chakras are 7 vortices of scalar energy spinning. We now see how this works hand in hand with this type of thinking. And sadly, Western medicine has never embraced the idea that we have, or never really firmly convinced itself that this indeed is true and accurate, that there are 7 chakras. They are the animating life force for everybody. Everybody's health is directly dependent upon those 7 chakras.
Yeah. And when they go out of alignment, like we said before, everything becomes a mess inside the system. But we have to bring them back in alignment to help the body to reintegrate or retrain the system to get back in line. And so if we're talking about using the scalar light, how does it work with the DNA? Because you mentioned the double helix, and I love that.
Yeah.
And how does it work with the DNA and specifically like mitochondria of the cell? Is it because that's our DNA is pure light that is inside the cell. So if it's in the cell, then there's the scalar light force coming in and changing it. And have you done any studies or been able to see anything around that?
That's another brilliant observation. Scalar energy is the cause of DNA. And if I've seen models, I've seen actual photographs of scalar energy, and it is the exact ratio and proportion as to our human DNA. In my estimation, the animating force, the driving force of all DNA is scalar energy. Scalar energy is the creative strength that actually creates and maintains DNA. So now we can put all of this together. Why do we have DNA? If you've ever looked at the life molecule, it's eloquent. It's a double helix.
Beautiful.
And you have to say to yourself, where did all those instructions come from? At least I ask myself that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complicated system. We have a lot of chromosomes. We have a lot of aspects that turn the DNA on and off. It's not just a simple math problem.
Yeah, and the base pairs alone are just astronomical. And the fact that this all has to be properly maintained, first of all, created and then maintained, that has to be an ongoing creation and maintenance program. Scalar energy is the ongoing creation and maintenance of our DNA.
It makes total sense to me, that especially now that I'm in the field of thought, I know that's still being created in the universe, but that our DNA is shiftable and changeable. And especially if we're talking about from the scalar light healing, of course, if you're doing light healing, your DNA is going to be able to shift, and you're going to have that change in your system. And we're going to have the basics of our makeup, but then we're able to shift and change all the ones that need to be changed for that ultimate healing.
Yeah. Going back to our earlier thought here, if scalar energy is the cause of DNA, we should be able to correct our DNA once we have the ability to control and mandate scalar energy, a scalar energy wave. Imagine that scalar energy will be the tool that will correct most diseases in the future.
Right. Yeah. There's so many that are connected to the DNA at a much deeper level than people realize too. There's so many different aspects that can be shifted. We can just see just by doing mindset work. So if something so simple as breathing in a different way can shift our DNA, of course, like a light source of healing can shift our DNA.
Yes. And this is why we've seen some people who have been able to cure themselves by their emotional posture, by positive thinking. How does that happen? You're realigning, you're rearranging, you're instructing your DNA by way of your positive affirmations or your prayers of others. This is the information field. This is what is so important for us to understand. Scalar energy is the perfect instruction field, the perfect force field.
Yeah.
This technology, once we grasp this, it's going to change the course of history.
Yeah, totally. Yes, it's fascinating. And so when we're talking about we're shifting the DNA and then the mitochondria, that energy powerhouse. So how does scalar light therapy then increase energy? Because everybody wants to have more energy, like woohoo.
So sometimes when people go under our program and they send us their photograph, they will experience a surge of energy, or they'll experience that their chakras are balanced, or that they have in many ways an enhanced mental state, an enhanced dream state, an enhanced state of creativity. Now, all of that is by what? Instructions, scalar energy instructions from a scalar energy instrument. So it's not as if I'm reprogramming the mind. Scalar energy is correcting the brain patterns, correcting the 7 chakras. So my point is, it's not my ingenuity. It's the fact that the energy does this automatically.
Yes, exactly. That energy code, particularly those instructions, like you said, is going in and doing its magic, so to speak. Not really helping the body to remember its true alignment, because our body remembers, like, oh yes, I'm supposed to be doing this, I'm supposed to be doing that. And so when things go out of alignment, that light can come in and say, yes, that's the alignment, that's the correct place to be in. Remember what that was like. Yeah.
And to add to that, once we realize that this instruction field, this infinite information field, is not only responsible for our health and well-being, but leads to other incredible feats, such as thinking, creativity, memorial connection with God. Then we're going to realize that this is it, that there's nothing superior to scalar energy. Every word of that.
Mhm.
This type of technology does not have, it's second to none, it is the final frontier because it's the perfect interface with God.
Yeah, that spiritual connection is so important. And for you listening out there, if you're not, God isn't your word, it's just the universe, the spirit, the source, whatever it is. Everyone has their own relationship, I think, with the terminology, but it's all about just the connection to the universe that is out there. We have so much out there
Yes.
and helping us. And so we're talking about the using the technology. How long is the treatment session? How often does it
I,
have to be done?
in order to introduce this new concept to the world, I offer 15 days of free session on my website. And every day we treat people around the clock. Remember, people simply email us a photograph.
Easy.
And so we have three modalities. We will balance the chakras for 1 hour a day. We will create nutrients for 22, 23 hours a day. And then we have a pathogenic cleanse in which we can identify pathogens, microbes, and eradicate
bacteria, viruses, things like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a 24-hour a day program, meaning what? Your photograph is immersed in a scalar energy force field. And you're going to feel the benefits of 24-hour sessions on your photograph, on your force field. Again, you do not visit a laboratory. We work through your energetic state, your quantum field.
Amazing. So how many machines do you have? You must have a bunch if there's
I do, doctor. I have probably 40 different instruments.
Wow.
But I'll make this very clear. A scalar energy instrument is so finely tuned and it can work with millions of photographs at any particular point in time. I work with people simultaneously.
Oh, so you don't have to have one picture in there. That's so cool.
People will send me a collage like this.
Wow.
And I frequently treat collages that have 400, 500, 1,000 people on it. For instance, today in my laboratory, I work with close to at least 500,000 people. 500,000 people. People from around the world.
Cool. That's amazing. I'm fascinated out there. Everybody listening, I'm fascinated.
I work with at least 500,000 people today because I have people from around the world sending me collages, whether it's a church, a non-government organization, a charity, an orphanage. So on any given day now, I'm working with at least 500,000 to 1 million people a day by miniaturized photograph in which we can connect with our quantum field. Now, if you can start to digest where I'm going with this, if I can easily work with 500,000 people a day by way of a photograph, the day is coming when a team, a well-organized international team, will be treating 5 to 10 million people a day by way of their photograph.
Yeah, that's the future right there. And I think that's hard for people to grasp, but we have to think out of the box. Now, I think we have to really move into a new future of healing because what we have been doing for the past 60 plus years or longer than that, but for people that are listening, maybe that's attainable. But yeah, that the system is so broken, like beyond broken. And people need to just wake up and know there's a lot of other things out there and so it's exciting, right? It's so exciting that we could be doing massive healing.
Yes. And this scalar energy, once again, is the new technology. It's a new paradigm, a new model. This technology will change the world. We simply need the world to embrace what we're doing, to accept this.
Right.
And,
yes.
And the world is. The people on balance have been very favorable to my research. I believe they see that I'm sincere. They realize that the merit of this energy, this technology is vast. Why would you not want to embrace something that's going to help our lifestyle, that will improve the human condition?
Yeah, totally. Exactly. That makes complete sense. And let's talk about, you mentioned earlier, the brain. And I love you have a specific program that relates to the endorphins and the brain and neurotransmitters, which is, I think this is a really amazing place that people are wanting to access, right? One, turn on the brain, access their brain more, improve their cognition, help with longevity. So how does this work? If you can talk a little bit about it and some of the specifics that the scalar light healing is targeting, I guess is a good word, right? It's targeting the specific things.
So if I can work with a photograph of vitamin E, then I can also work with photograph of an endorphin. And what is the upshot? Then sending energy into that force field by way of a person's photograph, we can create endorphins, which dopamine, acetylcholine, which produce a state of happiness. Yes, they are. They're brain chemicals. Let's face it, or that's what they're called, or happy hormones. And in turn, an endorphin usually produces a state of tranquility, a state of elation with many people. We do have an endorphin neurotransmitter program in which we're assembling over, say, 15, 20 different types of neurotransmitters. The upshot is people feel better. Their cognitive ability is enhanced because they finally have the brain chemicals that they need. And they believe that this has produced a state of happiness. Some people have gone as far to say that the endorphin program has lifted their depression or changed their anxiety, served to correct a phobia.
Yeah.
But once again, working at the instructional level, at the quantum level, all of this is possible.
Yes. And that's so powerful. I think that when in that state of depression, like you were mentioning, that is it's a dark place for people. If we're talking about bringing light into the system and uplifting that and working from the hormonal level and that new instruction for the brain to, oh yeah, okay, remember this was that serotonin. Remember how you used it?
Yes.
Yes.
Good
And
point.
the other program, you have so many fun ones. The other one I found fascinating was the hormone program. I work a lot with women with hormones, and love for you to talk a little bit about that one as well.
We do have the ability to assemble female hormones. To give you, for instance, just a month ago, a woman said that during her first month on the female hormone therapy, she experienced her period, her menstrual flow, it was a normal menstrual flow without any pain. So what am I getting at? Sometimes women do not have the proper balance of
Right.
female hormones. And that can lead to certain conditions, such as an abnormal blood flow, or later in life, lack of female hormones can bring on the sense of cramping or hot flashes, etc. So many women who've signed up for our program, and this is their testimony now, obviously I'm not a woman, tell me that they have a normal menstrual flow, or that they no longer have hot flashes, or they're not so irritable. Why? Because they're receiving, I should say, the proper proportion of female hormones by light. This is not a chemical process. It's a new science in which we deliver a nutrient, in this case, a female hormone, by light.
So fascinating. And it makes sense to me that the body would be able to readjust. The hormones, I think, I don't know if they're the easiest, but they're really easily accessible. We have so many in our body, and they're working all the time when we're asleep and we're awake all the time. And it's communicating. So if the instructional code from the Scalar light healing machine can come in and tweak things like, oh yes, this communicate here, communicate there, this would be a better way.
Very good. So you see how now working with this fundamental energy, how we can deliver instructions, in this case, deliver female hormones instructions through the medium of a photograph, the force field on a photograph, and how light energy never makes a mistake.
Yes, because it reads you.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. Now, we as human beings, God bless, we make mistakes. I work with scalar light instruments only, and the scalar light instruments do not make a mistake. So I can guarantee the outcome.
Wow. So fascinating. It's just really enlightening.
Very good.
Yes. Have you used the scalar light therapy in meditation for helping people to reach a deeper brain state like alpha or gamma waves?
Yeah, I think the chakra balancing or the brain balancing does that on a regular basis. Why, for 1 hour a day, I do treat people for a brain balance or a chakra balance.
Yeah, that's a great one.
In their words, they feel better. In their words, they have a greater connection to God. By way of their testimony, they say they're much more tranquil, or to the point that sometimes the chakra balancing has even removed, if you will, effaced any type of desire for alcohol or recreational drugs. It's instructional. A scalar energy chakra balancing corrects the conscious. It is instructional. It is uplifting. So many
Mhm.
people have gone as far to say it's removed their fears, their phobias, and their addictions. Some people
Right.
say they've been able to give up the hard drugs, heroin, cocaine, with the chakra balance.
That's great because it was changing the neurotransmitters like we were talking about before, and
Yes.
it's changing the dopamine connection. And that's a lot what that addiction comes with is the
Yeah.
dopamine firing. So yes, I love that. Give me more.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a really, I would love to see it in the mental health capacity because so many people are suffering from mental health disorders, so many. And I think it's just would be just a blessing on the
Yes,
planet.
it would. Yes, it would. And the fact that we can work with millions of people a day by way of a photograph. So you see how there's no impediment now. There's no barrier to entry. Everybody has a cell phone today. Practically everybody can take a
This is true.
photograph. This is not difficult. And this is what I'm trying to put forth to mankind. I want people to get on board. If I have to treat the entire world, I'll treat the entire world for free. Why
Mhm.
not?
Yeah, it sounds like it's an easy technology to use too. I think I like what you said before about having a team of people, or then you're working because when you can't do all that by yourself,
Right,
you
right.
have to have a life. You're like up all night
Give
game.
the audience if you will, a glimpse into the future. We're working with an HIV/AIDS clinic in Delhi, India. We've been working with them for years, and everybody that we've worked with by way of their photograph now, they're reporting that they no longer have HIV. So people from this HIV clinic in Delhi, India, submitted their photograph. My
Mm.
instrument is able to look at a person's photograph, pinpoint, pick out the HIV virus, and then destroy it, get apart. Scalar energy can break apart the HIV virus. Now, I have to wait for the people's testimony because obviously I don't live in Delhi, India. And the testimonies from Delhi, India, from the people tell me that they no longer have HIV. This is their testimony after the people submitted their photograph for a quantum healing.
How many treatments did they have to go through? I'm sure it's different by individual, but is there like an average?
Just a month, 1 month.
Just a month. Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And in general, is there a time frame for people for treatments? Is it one session? Is it once a
Yeah.
month?
We offer 15 days of free sessions on the website so that people get their feet wet.
Right. And that
Okay.
can you say what that exactly is?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Our website is scalarlight.com. In order to introduce this esoteric process, this new science, scalar energy, anybody in the world can visit our website and send us your photograph. We will treat your photograph for free for 15 days. We'll perform the chakra balancing, the germ cleanse, the nutrient program. With that hands-on knowledge, then we allow people to decide whether they feel better. There's no
Exactly.
scientific protocol here, doctor. This is a
Right.
new science. There is no established scientific protocol. The only protocol we have are people testimonies.
Yes, which I think that's also the wave of the future for science instead of it being a paid trial by a company of bias. All studies are biased in one way or another, but yeah, the scientific testimonial of a person, that's when you get the real data. And Hahnemann, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He was invented or discovered homeopathy, and that's how
Yes.
it's all from that. It's all testimonials. That's what he invented it.
Yeah, Hahnemann was a genius, and the driving force, the animating force behind homeopathy is scalar energy.
Of course.
Yes. How
Yeah.
could you take a tincture, a vial, or a reagent, and then with each generation or with each dilution, it potentiates and becomes stronger.
That's always they're like, what? How is that possible? You dilute it and it gets
Yes.
stronger. What?
So it's not by volume that it's increasing and becoming more robust. Rather, each dilution increases, potentiates the scalar energy force field.
Right, exactly.
Homeopathy is scalar energy in operation.
Yeah. And then I think that's a piece that people are always so curious about. I'm just taking this pellet that really doesn't have anything in it. I'm like, does. It does just because you don't think it does, but it really does. I've seen probably some of the most found healing with my patients with homeopathy. It can really, if you get it like dialed in, and I've used it myself for lots of different things, and it's a wonderful source. And inexpensive too, which I really like about it as well. It's a great medicine for the masses. You're not
Yeah,
paying like thousands of dollars for supplements.
yeah. And and to speak to that point, it's non-physical. It's information.
Right, exactly.
That's the key behind homeopathy. It's information in a vial or some type of reagent
Mhm.
or etc.
It's an energetic form of medicine. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Which,
yes.
yeah. And it's just, that's also the wave of a future for our medicine too, where you don't have to have necessarily, the exact piece. You can still have that energetic form of a plant or ashwagandha or something. You still have that energetic light from that
It's
particular plant or that DNA code in the medicine, but not actually have that medicine in the ingredient.
it's not a chemical process in this case. It's an
Right.
energetic process. And
Mhm.
frankly, the energetic process is very sublime and it's very forceful, very powerful. Sometimes it produces a favorable outcome to exceed that of a chemical process.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And I think it allows the body to shift in a very different way too when it's an energetic form, because some people are very sensitive when they're taking something that's very strong, their body reacts maybe too quickly or overloads the system, and then they can make them feel worse. Oh my gosh, I took this and XYZ happened. Okay, let's take it back a notch. Try something a little bit less strong.
Yeah.
Yes.
So hopefully within this hour, we've driven home that point. This new and promising science, still in its infancy, will change the world. Just consider what we've discussed here in this short span of time and how this is just the tip of the iceberg. Tesla was using scalar energy and he developed scalar energy towers. He was able to capture that star energy, and he had free energy devices. Scalar energy is free energy of the stars. So where are we going with this? Scalar energy is going to end the energy crisis sooner or later.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we have to shift that too for our plant to survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that's definitely true.
Fossil fuels are antiquated. That it's run its course. That's
Old news.
we need the new paradigm. Yep.
Yes, exactly. And so as we're wrapping up things today, Tom, I have a couple things. The 15-day free trial of Scalar Light Healing is scalarlight.com/free-trials. And we'll put that in the show notes so everybody can find it, correct?
Yes.
And then tell us about the different amazing packages that you have for
Okay.
different health concerns, because these are great.
All right, to enumerate, we have a mineral and precious stone program in which we actually deliver energetically the force field of minerals and various precious stones. There's an endorphin and neurotransmitter program that we spoke of. We have a natural foods program in which we actually take magnified photographs of foods, whole foods, natural foods, and we download those phytochemicals into your force field by way of your photograph.
Oh, I want to do that one.
Yeah,
That sounds really cool.
We have a male and female hormone therapy program. We spoke about the female hormone therapy program. We have an addiction chemical detox program. There's another program by the name of digestive enzymes. And then to round it off, there's a fat metabolism program. So these are different applications of scalar energy, all with different instructions imparted by way of your photograph.
Yeah, that's just fascinating. I love it. I'll make sure that I will do some of those myself and post some stories about it and see how my body feels and changes, because that'll be really fun for me to do over the next week as your podcast is live. That'll be great.
Thank you, Dr. Lulu.
Yes.
Very, very encouraging conversation. You really see the big picture here. You're very astute. Thank you for understanding where we're going with this technology.
Yeah, you're so welcome. It's been a joy to have you on the show, Tom. And tell us, our audience, a couple places about how they can find you and follow you so that they can tune right into your website.
Yeah. Go to our homepage, scalarlight.com. At the very bottom, we have social media links.
Great.
Start with our homepage. I don't want to confuse anybody. Scalar, there are 300 or 400 articles on the website. If you read all 400 articles on the website, I'll buy you dinner. We have plenty of information.
Right. Yes. Yes. You can some light reading
Yeah,
website for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Great. Wonderful. And one last question, which I think I probably know the answer to this one, but maybe not. If you had an unlimited budget right now, what would you
Yes.
do to make the biggest impact on the planet?
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point. And specific to my research, I would set up chapters around the world and offer everybody in the world free sessions. It takes
Mm,
a lot of education. So I'd have to have a team of people around the world in 200 cities around the world doing nothing but
mhm.
teaching,
Teaching about
educating.
it. Yeah.
But in the interim, I thank you for your platform, for your ability to reach, to leverage people by way
Mhm.
of this podcast.
Yeah, of course. You're so welcome. Yes, I think that is great because education is key, right? So we can point
Yes.
people back here and different ways to find out. And yeah, I look forward to discovering and diving deep into the chapters when they're around the world. How
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah, that's a way the movement, right? That
It is. It's
scalar movement.
grassroots. This
Yes.
is a grassroots movement. And
Mhm.
those of you who really find this to be up your alley, contact us,
Mhm.
work with you.
Yeah.
We want to work with charities, orphanages, hospitals around the world.
Yeah, and it's so needed. Yeah, so I will I'm hoping the next few years I'm going to have a healing center opening up, a bigger, like larger retreat center. So I'm definitely going to be reaching out to have
Please.
some of your services at the center because I think that would be great. Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah. Well,
Let's do
thanks.
that.
Yes, let's do that for sure. It's on the, I already wrote it into the timeline.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah.
In
Thank
the
you so
Akashic
much.
record.
Oh, but yes, exactly. Yes. Accessed and delivered. Yes. Thanks again, Tom, for taking the
Thank you.
time out today. I really enjoyed our conversation and I can't wait to share it with the world.
Thank you, Doctor.